Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and I congratulate you on your election. Thank you for this opportunity to make my maiden speech. I congratulate the previous maiden speaker, the Honourable Member for Birmingham Erdington, not just on his excellent speech, but if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Deputy Speaker, on becoming the first member in this House to make his maiden speech not just with his wife in the chamber, but on the front benches before him. It is a big step, Mr. Deputy Speaker, for anyone to represent his cathedral city in this House, and many previous maiden speakers have alluded to the difficulties of filling the large shoes of their predecessors. In my case, this is literally true, as both my feet would probably fit into one shoe of Parmjit Dander's. And I pay tribute to Parmjit Dander for the work he did on behalf of Gloucester, for his great interest in the Gloucester City Football Club, and his contribution to the relocation and rebuilding of Gloucestershire College. I also respected his enthusiasm, though I did not share it at all, for the regionalisation of many things, including government, planning, police and fire control centres. In these respects, at least, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I hope that small is beautiful. Today, it is appropriate to make this maiden speech on behalf of my constituents in Gloucester during the second reading of the bill to abolish ID cards, which surely is a vivid example of a misuse of both parliamentary time and taxpayer money. The main issues in cities like mine, and not dissimilar from the previous speaker in Birmingham, are that we are a great working city now with record youth unemployment, and too many families where there is no working role model. In fact, occasionally there are 3 generations living entirely off benefits. And I believe, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that everyone in Gloucester will support me in saying that our main striving today is to try and increase business growth in order to generate more jobs, especially for the young, and that this will in turn generate the tax revenues that fund the frontline services so crucial to everyone in my city. Let me try and put our working context. Gloucester came onto the map first through 2 early attempts at European integration. Firstly, as the Roman Colonia of Glevum, and secondly, at the forefront of a large Norman military and religious building programme, which has left us today with the glories of Gloucester Cathedral. But as members on this side of the House know so well, economic development rarely follows government plans, and our next phase of mass tourism was created by the unfortunately and regrettable homophobic act of regicide against Edward II in the constituency of my honourable friend, the member for Stroud. The large numbers of pilgrims who came to our city have only been more recently exceeded by the recent pilgrims following the filming of Harry Potter in our cloisters. But our real business adaptability was shown during the Industrial Revolution, when we created, first of all, the world's deepest canal, and then Britain's most inland port, to bring raw materials to Gloucester to make things. And that is where my city has always excelled. We have made things. We manufactured wagons to carry everything from coal to maharajas with slightly different degrees of comfort during the age of the railway, and most spectacularly built the world's first jet fighter, the Gloucester Meteor, which was exported to 14 countries. Today, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we face different times and different challenges. Our business, like many other constituencies, has a strong element of retail and financial, but we continue to manufacture. Despite the large drop in our manufacturing sector during the last 10 years, we still do make 15% of our gross domestic product in Gloucester from manufacturing. And this consists of health products, large numbers of materials for the aerospace industry, like insulation, coatings and cylinders, and also almost every ice cream that every member of this House has eaten in this country comes from the Walls Ice Cream Factory in Gloucester. Now, it is as a symbol today that I wear something manufactured in Gloucester. The shirt I am wearing was made 2 days ago on the Cross in the heart of our city by Gloucester craftsmen, and I'm proud to say that the company which makes these wonderful shirts will shortly be opening a retail space in Bombay, demonstrating that once again Gloucester will be exporting to India soon. At the same time, as we have seen this greater diversity, both of manufacturing and business enterprise, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we've also seen a huge increase in the diversity of our residents. I thought that it would be useful as a new Member of Parliament to have lived and worked in 10 countries and speak the languages of 8 of them, but in fact the people of Gloucester speak 46 languages, and so in this, as in so much else, I still have a lot to learn. It is of interest to members, I believe, that many of our residents who've come from overseas come from close to the Indian port of Surat in Gujarat, which was, by wonderful historical irony, the port where Elizabethan sailors from this country first landed in India some 450 years ago. I welcome all my friends from Gujarat and also more recent arrivals, and am proud to have been invited as the guest of honour at the opening this weekend of both the new association for Tamils and for the Polish community. But the truth today is that all of us, whatever our origins, face severe difficulties in handling the business of record youth unemployment and in trying to regrow our economy to provide jobs for our new young people. And that is why, Mr. Deputy Speaker, all of my constituents in Gloucester will welcome measures taken by this government that will stimulate business, which we must remind ourselves is the sole source of growth that provides jobs and then tax revenues for the services that many members are calling for in our different constituencies. The most famous book written on Gloucester is Beatrix Potter's The Tailor of Gloucester. And some members will remember the sad moment when the tailor runs out of money and finds, as he says, there is no more twist. In his case, he was bailed out by the mice, who in the dead of night brought both the cloth and the needles and finished his sewing for him. But today, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we cannot trust entirely on the benevolence of the mice in Gloucester to re-stimulate our economy, and therefore I welcome the changes that I am sure this government will make in order to bring that stimulation about. And so I promise to the constituents of Gloucester, who I am so proud to serve, that I will work ceaselessly, especially to help business growth that will provide those job opportunities and generate the tax revenues. And to those ends, I am intending, Mr. Deputy Speaker, to create a new all-party parliamentary group on urban regeneration, which links so many of these issues together, and I work with members from all sides of the House in order to explore new ways of contributing to the solutions of this area. And I believe that if we can successfully stimulate both micro, which means regeneration on the streets, as well as macro regeneration in terms of projects and new investment, then it will be possible for the people of Gloucester to have greater pride in our city, and for the city to be seen by members in this place and by people all around the country, very like our cathedral and our rugby club, as a Premier League city. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.